Here is a quick tutorial on how to crochet this beautiful pumpkin decoration. I will be using this Banat chunky ball and a 6mm hook. The great thing about making crocheted pumpkins is it really doesn't matter which weight yarn you use and which size hook. I will show you a trick later on as to how to get the best size for your pumpkin. You'll want to start with a long tail before you start to chain. You will chain in multiples of 2 and then add 1 once you've finished. To make my pumpkin, I chained 19 stitches. For those of you who crochet already, you will be used to crocheting in between the V stitches that you can see here on the chain. But for this pumpkin tutorial, you will be crocheting into the back loops. You will start by skipping the first back loop that is on after your hook. Into the second back loop, you will want to place 1 single crochet. Throughout the whole tutorial, I will be using US terminology. In the next bump along, you will want to place a single crochet and a half double crochet into the same stitch. You will then skip 1 stitch and move to the next one and repeat the same, a single crochet and a half double crochet into the same stitch. Again, skip a stitch and into the next one, single crochet and half double crochet. This is the pattern all the way through. Once you're at the end, you will be left with 2 back loops. Again, skip the first one and into the last back loop, you'll want to place 1 single crochet. We will now be turning our work. Chain 1 and turn your work. You will now be putting 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Into the next stitch, you will place your usual 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet. Skip 1 stitch and again 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet. Skip 1 stitch, 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet into the same stitch. You will repeat this pattern all the way to the end. Continue all the way to the end until you have 2 stitches left. Again, in your next stitch, skip that stitch and single crochet into the last stitch. This will be the pattern that you follow throughout. Please stay tuned because I will show you a clever trick on how to make sure that you achieve the right length for your size pumpkin. I have now worked several rows and as you can see I'm making a nice long rectangle. There is a clever way to make sure that you have the perfect length for the height of your pumpkin. If you take the bottom right hand corner of your work and fold it upwards. Then take those two triangles and fold those upwards too. If you flip your work over, you will want to finish the rest of your length to be the same height as the end of that triangle. So by the looks of mine, I need to do another 5 rows to make sure I have the perfect length. I have now completed the extra rows, and as you will see, when I fold it up and fold it again, you'll be able to see that I have created the perfect length for the height of my pumpkin. Another clever tip to remember is to try and finish your rows on the same side as your original tail. You will soon be seaming the ends of your pumpkin to make a nice cylinder. You will use your original tail to seam down this side to cinch the end of your pumpkin, and then you will also use your working yarn to cinch the other end of the pumpkin. So here is how to create your pumpkin. Both sides are the same, so it doesn't matter which way you do this. But I fold the sides together, and you will be working through both loops of the top chain and both loops of the bottom chain. This is to bring your cylinder together. Start with the chain 1. Bring your sides together, and in the first 2 V's, insert your hook under both the top and the bottom stitches. You can choose to do a single crochet, but I prefer to use a slip stitch. And into the next stitch again under both loops of that stitch, both loops of the bottom end, and slip stitch. Both loops on the top, both loops on the bottom, and slip stitch. You'll continue this all the way down to the other end of your pumpkin. I'm just going through the last 2 stitches, slip stitch, and into the last stitch, the final slip stitch, and draw up a length. This next part is optional, but I like to create ridges in my pumpkin. Therefore, I leave myself a long tail to make the ridges in my pumpkin. Turn your work inside out so the seam is on the inside. You can see where the ridge is, but that's just going to make a lovely ridge for your pumpkin. Using your original tail, it's now time to cinch the bottom of your pumpkin. You will need to do a running stitch all the way around the top of the pumpkin. I tend to find the holes of the chain 1 from each round and go in through and then back out. And you can do this all the way along. Once you've finished, you can start to pull it and gather the top. For extra security and sturdiness, I tend to do another running stitch around the next few stitches to make sure that it's nice and secure. I create a knot, pull tightly, and then pop it through to the inside of the pumpkin. Next, you will be stuffing your pumpkin. You can decide to either stuff the pumpkin as you go and then create the running stitch around the top, or you can create the running stitch around the top, cinch slightly, and then stuff your pumpkin. That's how I'm going to do it. The amount of stuffing that you need will depend on how full you'd like your pumpkin. I tend to make sure that all of my sides are stuffed, and then I work back through into the middle. Once you are happy with how much stuffing you have, it is now time to cinch the top. As before, cinch as tightly as you can and run a little extra running stitch around the top to make sure it's nice and secure. You should have the start of something that looks like a pumpkin. It's up to you whether you leave it like it is, or I like to add some ridges. You will see your original seam, and this makes the perfect position for your first ridge. Using the long tail that you created earlier on, pull this all the way through down to the bottom and use your tapestry needle. From the bottom, push this through to the top. This is definitely tricky, and there are longer needles that you can use to do this. Continue to pull this all the way through, making sure it's in the perfect position. And pull tightly. Depending on which yarn you are using, try not to pull too tight because this can snap. I find it easy if you make 2 halves of the pumpkin. So on the opposite side, repeat exactly the same, putting your needle through the bottom and pulling it through the top. I like to make 6 segments on my pumpkin. So now you have 2 halves. You can divide this by 3 to get 6 even pumpkin slices. Repeat each of the steps as before to create the segments. You can, of course, choose to leave your pumpkin as it is. If so, sew off your ends now. I will, of course, be using my faux suede leaves and pumpkin stems that I sell in my shop. They are available in 23 faux suede colours, are super soft, and also 4 faux leather colours. The pumpkin stems come in 5 different phrases. I also sell pumpkin buttons as well. They make a cute attachment. So for my pumpkin, I will be using 1 large in toffee, 1 medium in sand, and a small russet colour. I like the look of them all stacked together. They are really easy to attach with the hole, and you can use any size yarn as they are quite flexible. Continue to stack them together. You can place them one on top of each other like this, or I prefer to fan them out. Grab your pumpkin stem. You will see that there are holes at either end of the stem. Fold this in half and sew through both of the holes. You will now be sewing back through to the other end of your pumpkin. This can be quite tricky. Before you secure off, make sure that the leaves and the stem are sitting where you'd like them. If you pull too hard, you cinch the leaves in too much. Try not to pull it too hard. Turn your pumpkin over and sew the ends off nice and securely. And there you have your finished crocheted pumpkin. This will look perfect on any Halloween table.